Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Mr. V Teaches Math. And today we're going to be looking at something called subtracting integers. I'm going to show you a couple of different strategies to subtract integers. The other day I was thinking about this question and trying to figure out what the difference was, and I was thinking about -5 minus +2. And so what I did was I tried to use counters. And so you can see I wrote that out there, which is 5 blues, take away 2 reds. But I kind of got stuck because I was like, I have 5 blues, but I'm told to take 2 reds away. But I don't have 2 reds on this side of the minus sign. And so I'm wondering how I can do this subtraction. And I got a little stuck on it. But then I remembered something called the zero principle from a few lessons ago. And I know that I can add 0 to a number without changing the value of a number. You might be like, well, how does that help me? But try and follow me along on this one. So what happens is that I can add 2 0 pairs to -5, and when I do that, I'll then have enough red counters to do the subtraction. So what I did was I wrote out my original 5 blue counters. I added in these 2 0 pairs. So it doesn't actually change the overall value of everything in the brackets here. It still equals -5, but now, because this part's telling me to take 2 reds away, I can actually do that. So I rewrote my line where I had all my I had my 5 blues, I had my 2 0 pairs, and I just crossed out all of the reds, because that's the subtraction. And what I'm left with is 7 blues. So my answer to -5 take away +2 is actually -7. Like, isn't that crazy? I often have students come and talk to me and say that they don't really understand this, and I get it. I get why you don't understand it, because it can be a little confusing, but I found that practicing this concept, practicing this model, it really does make perfect. It's like with our math drills. It starts at a place that you're not happy with, and you work at it and you get better at it. And so we're going to be practicing using the zero principle to subtract fractions, and you'll understand it just through the practice. Okay? So let's go through a couple of examples. So this example here, I'm going to be subtracting integers with the same sign. So I have this question that's -2 minus -5, and I'm going to use the counter model. So I have 2 blues here, and I'm being told to take 5 away, but I don't have 5. So what I have to do is I add in my 0 pairs, right? So I've added in 1, 2, 3 0 pairs. Still just equals 0. Still means that the overall value of the stuff inside the bracket is -2. But now I can take away these 5 blue counters, and what I'm left with is 3 red ones. And so what I can say is -2 minus -5 equals +3. And so it works. I like that one a lot, actually. Okay, so that's using counter models. The next one is actually using a number line to subtract fractions. I personally think this one's a little bit easier than the counter model, perhaps. The counter model works really well for numbers that are less than 10, because then you're not drawing out a crazy amount of circles. The number line works better for slightly larger numbers that are sort of in the 2 digits, but say like less than 50 kind of thing. So here's how it works. If I have a question like -15 minus -20, here are the steps. I start my arrow at the second number of the question. In this case, it's -20. So I start the arrow at -20. I'm going to draw the arrow to the first number in the question, which in this case is -15. So I draw my arrow from -20 to -15. Now the direction that the arrow goes, right or left, tell me if the number is positive or negative. The length of the arrow tells you the numerical value. So the arrow goes 5 units to the right, and so the answer actually is +5. So -15 minus negative 20 equals positive 5. Okay? Start the arrow at the second number, draw it to the first number. Direction of the arrow tells you whether it's positive or negative. So an arrow that goes to the left is actually negative. And then the length of the arrow, in this case it's 5 units, tells you how big the number is. So the answer is positive 5. Okay? Number lines using integer subtraction using number lines, pretty straightforward stuff, pretty good stuff. Lastly, using a calculator to subtract integers. Okay? Pretty straightforward. Positive 39 minus negative 17. Okay? So, press 39, press the subtract button, enter 17, and I'm going to press the plus minus button, I'm going to press equals, and I'm going to get positive 56. So I'm going to say that positive 39 minus negative 17 equals positive 56. I will show you some stuff on the board tomorrow about rules. So for example, well, I'll leave it as a surprise. I will show you tomorrow. Okay? So these are some strategies using a calculator, using a number line, and using a counter model to figure out how to subtract integers. Okay? So have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.